All right, perfect. A very warm evening again, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Fireside Chat at Fireblaze. This time we have a very special guest, Payal over here. Let me give a quick intro about Payal. So Payal is from Nagpur. We'll check that if she is born brought up in Nagpur, but yes, she is from Nagpur. She has done her engineering in computer science from Anjuman College, graduated in 2019, and then she started her career at Head Start, which is into manpower recruitment. Her experience has majorly been into human resource area. So she has a huge knowledge about what's going on in the hiring world. And then after a year and 6 months, she moved to Rank Skills Knowledge International. She worked over there for nearly a year, and then she joined NICE as a human resource executive, and then got promoted. She has worked around 3 years in NICE, and then currently she is working at SalesPoint Inc. as a senior executive human resource. So this is about her. She has worked in and around in IT of Nagpur based good eminent companies. So she knows all about recruitment, and we are here to acknowledge your journey, the wonderful journey that you have been. You have transited from engineering to human resource, and doing phenomenal in terms of recruitment, and your career trajectory has been amazing. We would love to understand the hurdles and everything around your journey, so that anyone, an aspiring learner from our city and other cities as well who are listening, can relate, learn from your journey, and then incorporate the same thing. Just so again, a huge welcome. Just to give you a brief about the audience, we have majorly two categories of audience. One is freshers, those who are in their final years or have just graduated. Okay.
Awesome.
60% would be from engineering background, like us, but 40% would be from non-engineering background as well. BCA, MCA, BCom, BSc, microbio, everyone. And then there would be 1 to 5 years of executives who are working in and around in KPO, BPO, banking, finance, manufacturing, sales domains in all different companies, and now are looking up to keep up the hype of data science, analytics, and the IT, and want to come into IT and are aspiring that. So I mean, just a heads up, this is the audience. So it's pretty much from uh, diversified into tier 2 cities. Okay. So
Got
every
it.
environment would be like Nagpur.
Got it. Got it. So thank you so much, Anil, for a warm welcome. So yeah, correct. I am born and brought up in Nagpur itself. So as you said that I did my engineering, let me give you a short introduction from myself as
Yes.
well, so that the audience would be aware about that. So as I said, I am born and brought up in Nagpur only. I did my engineering from Nagpur itself in the field of computer science. So the question arises over here is why I have moved from engineering into an HR field, right? So let me be very honest over here. I was not having any interest in the coding sector. So my more interest was towards people management, how we can interact with the people, how we can answer their queries, how we can solve their problems. So after engineering, my planning was to move to MBA. But fortunately, I get an opportunity to work with Head Start as a recruiter, and since it's aligned with my expertise and my future goal, so I started my journey over there. So there I was doing the recruitment. Then I moved to Ranksville, which was based out of Pune. That was again into staffing. There also I worked into a recruitment field. Then I jump into an IT industry directly, like which is Nice Software Solutions. It's basically into data analytics side, data and PI. So there I worked for almost 3 years, where my role was into completely HR, recruitment, operations, payroll, all. Then I moved now. I am currently working with SalesPoint, which is again in the same field. It's into data and BI. Our headquarters is in US, Washington. Earlier, we had our office in Nagpur as well. However, post COVID, we are working remotely. So now here I am taking care of the complete HR vertical over here, be it, recruitment, operations, payroll, learning and development, etc. So, as you said, the audience over here is basically fresher, graduates, experienced resource. So, to answer your question, why data is important. So from last almost 3.5 years, I'm working with the data industry only. So just wanted to give you a quick example over here. Like here nowadays, basically data play a very important role. Be it a small retail shop or a big mall or a big, a firm, data is very precious and it's very important. So now I mean, all the IT organizations are playing with data, right? So it's in short, I would like to say that in today's world or in today's industry, data industries are moving or in boom. It's evolving rapidly, which increase the growth of the resources as well who are working in that industry and directly in like basically help in their career growth. So, if you could help me with a few specific questions which I can answer, that would be great, or maybe from the audience.
Yes. So I'll probably ask you 4 5 questions and then we'll take it to the audience. So I have
Sure.
predefined questions. Uh, why? So you already mentioned that you didn't had interest in much of a coding area, so you directly
Yes.
moved into uh, recruitment, human resource.
Yes.
How did you got your first job?
So that my friend was working over there. So obviously at that time I was looking out for an opportunity as well as was planning for my MBA as well. So my friend was working over there. She asked me for the internship over there because they were having an opportunity. Then I started my internship over there for
Perfect.
3 months because I need to understand whether exactly that is the organization which I am looking out for or not. So I started my internship. I get involved over there with their responsibilities and everything, and that makes me feel like this is the opportunity which I should grab as a full-time resources. So that's why it's gone.
Perfect. So you started as an intern and then got a
Yes,
full-time opportunity. So this is a very important learning which I would love to highlight for everyone, that you have to have an internship so as to land a job if you are struggling in some kind of manner. I mean, I see a lot of freshers, they wait. They don't take an internship. They wait. They think that they'll directly land a job and then start their career. So what's your take on this? Why would you recommend to do an internship first for a fresher, or what's your take?
so basically, yes, being an HR, even we have these issues while hiring an intern for even our organization because nowadays people are like they don't want to invest their time in learning. They just want a quick everything should be there in hand. They need to start their job, then work as a full-time employee, and then just enjoy the period of working. But internship is basically a period which we can call it as a honey like a probation period, which is a honeymoon period, and internship itself a same, where you will get a chance to learn. You can get an idea whether whatever the passion or the goal which you have is correct or not. You learn over there, you'll check whether it's aligned with your future goal or not, and then accordingly you can implement it. Right? There are few cases where people do internship and they realize that no, I think this is not the right opportunity for me. I should explore in some other things, right? So that they can do that from there. So I would really suggest any fresher to start their journey with an internship. See, if they're getting a full-time opportunity, that would be really great. But to
Yes,
start with something, to learn something, because nowadays in market, as you know, freshers are saying, from where will where will we get the experience, right? So this is the platform. Most of the companies consider internship as the experience as well
correct,
because you will get an exposure to learn, right? To learn something which is aligned with your expertise or the future
correct,
goal.
correct.
Yeah,
So, I mean, out of all of the companies where you have already worked, have you seen them directly hiring freshers, or was the model followed intern to full time model followed in your organizations? What's the trend that you see in the Nagpur based companies?
got it. So if we are considering only Nagpur city, so I can say 70-30% ratio. 70 would be a directly full-time opportunity with the resources will get, and 30 would be the internship. And again, that depends on the opportunity, right? Whether if the company needs the resources or for a shorter period, or maybe they need someone to first check whether this resource is also aligning with their expectation or not. So they start with an internship. They both understand their responsibilities, and if that works out, then they convert it to full-time.
Correct, correct. So intent to hire model is as well followed in a lot of companies around.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. When hiring a fresher, what are the key qualities you see apart from the technical skill sets?
So again, let me be very honest over here. Being a fresher, we usually have a ratio of, again, let me give a brief with the ratio itself, 80-20. 20 would be technical, 80 would be the soft skill, you know, because nowadays it's very important how you'll express yourself to others. You're a good technical resource, you have good hands-on on any of the language, but you're not able to express to others, then how it will work, right? So while hiring a fresher, the most important thing which we evaluate in the candidate is their soft skill. Soft skill not only include communication skill, that how they are expressing themselves, how they are doing that. In addition to communication skill, their presentation skill, their
Correct.
logical ability, which is very important nowadays, and their analytical skills. So these are the 4 pointers which we evaluate while hiring the resources, other than the technical skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and since you have been around data analytics and AI, what core skill sets are now in demand?
Got it. So as I said, data industry is evolving rapidly, but data doesn't mean that it's only a single thing. There are so many things involved in that. So suppose if we are considering data and analytical vertical, so it's divided into 4 parts basically. It's include a backend team, which is
Right.
basically a data engineering team which plays with the data, we deal with the data. There is an ETL team, right, who works or move the data. There is basically a reporting or a BI developer who take care of the visualization part, and there is basically a functional resource. So if I'm talking about data analytics, basically, so the skill set which is in boom right now is basically data engineering. Data engineering includes big data. Now, cloud is very important. So it's either AWS, Azure, GCP, and Snowflake. Nowadays, people are using more of a Microsoft product, Azure, I can say, Snowflake. There's less demand of GCP, but any which way it would be there, and AWS. Along with that, as I said, ETL, there are so many tools available in market for ETL. Like there are Informatica, I mean, the Informatica tool, basically Ab initio, Talent. So most of the companies use nowadays Informatica, which is easy to use and user friendly as well. And into BI side, again, BI is a vast, there are multiple tools available in BI, but nowadays most of the organization are moving from their current BI tool to Power BI because again, it's easy to use and user friendly. So if you want to like basically step it down, so it's Power BI in the first, then you can say Tableau, MicroStrategy, Click. This is one sector, it's the analytics side. And now data scientists would be there, which includes the complete AI, because nowadays everyone wants to save their efforts, right? So that is the thing, AI is in picture right now. So AI, ML, Python pattern would be there. So these are the skills which I think the current, graduates or the team should learn, because in future, this will be the tools and technology which will be in both.
Now, so a lot of people are confused that when they're looking for a data analytics role, is Python like a mandatory thing or not? Because some JDs show that they should know everything, like they demand for machine learning as well in analytics roles. Okay. And some major of them are like, fine, okay, you need to know the tools, you need to know SQL, you should be good at writing queries, triggers, and then BI and everything. You don't need to know machine learning and AI part or Python for that matter. Okay. What's your take? I mean, it's a technical question, little, but yeah, I mean, what's your take on that?
Even we have seen, so see, that role, data analyst title or role is basically depends on company to company and the recruiter to recruiter. For me, might be data analyst means a person with only SQL expertise who will play with data, who will do in the backend. That's it.
So it might be, the person should have AI expertise and basically into machine learning as well.
This AI machine learning comes into data scientist side, I mean data science side. However, if you want to move into data analytics, which means a person will be working in backend or will be playing with data. So the backend language should be good. Sometimes it's there that a person should know Python, but in most of the cases, it's basically into backend side. SQL.
Perfect. So SQL, Power BI, Excel, these all analytical skills, which graph, what color, and everything is should be fine for someone to aspire for these roles. Uh,
Yes.
do you see any difference in terms of hiring for Indian clients as well as US clients? Because now that you are working for a company which is working in remote, so we cannot call it a Nagpur based company anymore. It has the
Right.
office as well, and it works remotely. So what do you say? I mean, what is your take in that? Like, is there any difference? Because why am I asking you is this: a very small chunk, like 2 to 5% of our learners have been able to crack such kind of opportunities where they are working for a US based company which doesn't have a footprint in Maharashtra or even Bangalore or India. They have been able to crack this. Uh, their demands are completely different. This is what I see. And
Right.
Indian companies want Indian, I'll say, not Nagpur based. Their demand are completely different. What's your take on that?
So, yes, it's completely different. I mean, I have worked for almost three regions, UAE, US, and India. So the hiring pattern, the evaluation criteria is completely different in all the three regions, basically. So let me start with India first. So in India, in all the Indian organizations, they are more focused towards the qualification. You know, how's your qualification? How's your background? How's your expertise? How's the skills which you're carrying? Job switches which you have done. What are the skill set which you have? Everything they calculate. Even they take care of the regions and everything. I mean the locations, right? However, now if I move back to US, it's they are very particular. Let me give you an example. So I am working now for Microsoft requirement. Okay, and as I said, they are our client. So Microsoft is a big giant, right? But still, their evaluation criteria will not trust. They are okay with someone who are not graduate. Have you
Uh,
ever seen any situation in India where they need someone with, they are very particular that they need a graduate or engineering qualified resource or, something graduation should be there. However, a big organization is don't have any criteria of even graduation. They focus more on skill. Like they focus on skill-based evaluation rather than the qualification one. And here in India, we focused on qualification, then skill. So this is the reason the chances are less where, if we say the opportunity conversion, basically, job application submission to conversion is less in India as compared to US. So in India, for one position, we evaluate 10 candidates.
okay.
However, yeah, I mean, depending on this, like feedback and everything. However, in US, for one candidate, they evaluate hardly one or two resource and they close the position.
Oh,
So it's very simple to do work for US market because they are very particular about their expertise and the requirement that they have, and they will close it. However, in India, I mean, we are Indian, but still, it's a quite lengthy process. They delay because in India we want perfect, a ready-made or ready-made material. Basically, a person with all the skill set should be there.
that too in a very economical salary structure.
Exactly. That obviously comes will be there. So see, again, that depends on the company, right? US is very well developed and everything, right? So they are very particular about that. So once we grow in this industry, we are growing, right, gradually. So once we grow, obviously that might be the company or the team or the owner should bring that culture. I'll not say almost all the organization in India are having that lengthy pattern.
Correct.
Now people are following the global pattern basically,
Correct.
like how they can grow because these small steps are involved in growing the company as well as the resources working over there, and which will be beneficial for both the parties.
Makes sense. Uh, do you use AI and analytics for recruitment and hiring? How has this changed over time since you started working in this domain?
So I have used AI tool in my previous organization. That was, I mean, for almost 6 months, I can say 5 to 6 months, because at that time we were having lots of requirement, and we were having a limited team, right? So we have used that, no doubt. If there's any new tool in the market, so it has its own pros and cons, right? So AI do have its own pros and cons. The pros, I can say it's very easy to shortlist the resources. We will get like AI doesn't mean only the resume screening. So nowadays, even if the AI tool are interviewing the resources as well, right? So it's saved the efforts of the recruiter, that resume screening, scheduling the interviews, then discussion, everything should be done by the AI side, and that they have the candidate in hand. I mean, a ready-made candidate. The cons will be, like human. Human are okay with 80-20 qualities. But if we give an AI that we need these skills, there should be particular about it's particular. If the person is not having that skill, they'll directly reject. You might have seen one case in on LinkedIn, basically. One manager has uploaded his profile and got to know that the profile was getting rejected because the skill set was not. So there was a problem of recruitment team. They have not added the skill set properly. That was the reason it was getting rejected, right? So any which way, if the tool is not working correct or functioning correct, so there might be a human behind it who has done the wrong thing or wrong coding over there. So nowadays, I mean, obviously women will be there in recruitment, but gradually the market is booming. Like everyone wants to save cost, right? So if we are five recruiters, then that single AI tool can work. I mean, basically take care of our work. So that is very important.
Perfect. Makes sense. Now, what trend do you see in terms of growth opportunities for someone with 1 to 3 years of experience working in this domain? So, see, obviously, the first step is very difficult. It is meant to be difficult. Okay, so landing a job for a fresher and all the hurdles around it, those are true. They would be there. You be anywhere.
Right.
Okay, uh, but as you get into the industry, there, if we look with an eye of a recruiter, right, or a company, retention or retaining the talent is also a key factor, because if once we train them, once we
Hmm.
invest on them, then there are very high chances that he might switch the company. Okay, so I want you to give the answer by being both in both the person's shoe, like what the recruiters are thinking, how are they retaining the talent, okay, and how are 6 months to a year, 2.5 year talent who is now becoming mature in the vertical and the technology, rapidly moving and switching. So what's the growth curve for them? And I mean, obviously it's one's fear is others advantage, right? So for both
Right.
the sides a trade-off, and since you have been in both the sides, so you might know how this works. So yeah.
Cool. So the thing is that in the nowadays in market, the growth for junior, I mean, with 1, 2, or 3 years of experience is more than the senior role.
Correct.
Why? Why? First is cost. You know, resources with 2, 3 years of experience have limited cost, but the skill set, as I said, there are few things which the resource should have: the analytical skills, the logical skills, the market knowledge, right? If we will ask a 20 years resource about the current trend in market, he might have knowledge, but a youngster, a 2 or 3 years of experience is having 110% knowledge about that. You know, so growth comes when you have knowledge about the market, you know, about what's going on in the market with respect to their expertise, and about retaining a talent. So it's very important and a difficult task for a organization and a recruiter, I mean, for an HR, because if we are giving a good culture, good tool, good exposure, or good hands to the resources, so obviously it will be there in the organization. So we basically check what is the reason, for because of which the resources is leaving the organization. We work on that. Accordingly, we make our strategies to retain that resource in the organization. So, if I'll be particular about that. So retaining a junior is very not very easy. Basically, I'll say it's quite good in the market as of now because uh, people can understand the situation, the growth opportunity. Because nowadays, this 2 to 4 years or 2 to 3 years resource, experienced resource is basically in the learning stage, still in the learning stage. They are not expert as of now.
Correct.
So I have seen that even we have hired freshers. So they are working with us for almost 4 or 5 years because they are mature enough. They know their growth that, if I get hands-on, if I'll work over here for 3, 4 years, then obviously I'll have a growth in my career in the next 4 or 5 years, right? Because any which way, if the person keeps switching on the job, so there will be a question mark from the other organization as well, right? So retaining a resource is, I mean, still there in the market. People are implementing new strategies for that. But for the juniors, it's work out.
Perfect. Perfect. Uh, how does one stand out while applying for a company? Like, generally, companies look for good candidates. Okay, whether they are freshers or laterals, the HRs try to apply different prompts on LinkedIn and other domains, and then they try to find out a talented resource by reaching him out or whatever. For a fresher as well, if someone is very good and is curious, so I find this curious element to be very important in anyone. If that guy is curious, he'll find his way, or the job will find a way for him. He just needs to
Hmm.
be curious. This is one thing. but
Right.
but being curious is not enough, because if he is having all the answers, he should also be able to show and then get the visibility in terms of the recruiter. So what are the ways in which a candidate could show that he or her is better than others and could take the spotlight? Because now, as you told, that retaining a talent is not a very difficult task. Okay, so
Engineer.
this in junior, and I think that this answer comes from tier 2 city based culture, whereas I see a very different trend in Mumbai, Pune, and Bangalore, that freshers, either they'll stick for a year and then they'll go for masters, and then they want to settle over there, because that's how the trend is. Nagpur goes to Pune's audience goes to US. Okay, so retaining a talent for a big MNC is challenging. That's why they have people on bench. Okay, so since it is difficult to make a space, because every company, like if there are like 20 or 30 new openings or 100 new openings coming in every year, and you are able to retain, so the companies won't hire at a very high pace freshers. So a guy needs to stand out. They need to have something wherein, even if one or two opening are coming, even for a lateral, they should be able to pick that up by the talent whatever they possess. So where to show and how do you find them? I need some idea around that.
Got it. So see, the first step for any hiring, I mean, after we get the requirement and everything, is screening of a resume, right? So your resume should speak complete what expertise, what skill, what knowledge you have in short. You know, your resume is very important while you're submitting to a recruiter because based on your resume screening, he or she will shortlist your profile. Interview is the next step. First your resume should shortlist it by the recruiter. So nowadays we are getting resume with two, three pages, right? let me be very honest that we don't have that much time to read 2 or 3 pages resume, right?
Correct.
Resume should be single page. I'm talking about the fresher. I'm talking about the fresher. Okay. So resume should be single page. It should include, I mean, if you're fresh graduate, it should include about the technical skills which you have. There should be a rating section. If I'll ask you how much you rate yourself, it would be easier for me to evaluate a profile, right? Rather than having that I have HTML, CSS, Java, .NET, everything they have mentioned in your resume. If you're submitting, your resume should be aligned with the role that the company is hiring for. For example, if I'm hiring for data analyst basically, and you have mentioned that you have good experience in web development, PHP, Java, what will I do for that? I need a particular skills, right? Basic knowledge should be there at least. Even if in India, if the company is hiring any resources, basic knowledge should be there of skills. Particularly write the skills, particularly about what you have. Rate yourself in that skill. Help us with your project details as well, because in engineering or during your graduation, people do a mini or minor project, right? Help a brief detail about your project and about why you're applying for this role, a cover page, because that will help us to know about your profile and accordingly we can screen your resume. Once your resume gets shortlisted, so we usually connect with the resources on call.
Mhm.
We use different channel. I forget to mention different channel we use for getting the profiles. Be it LinkedIn, a basically a social media platform as well, and the paid portals. So once we get the resume, we shortlist the resume, then we move to a call, a normal call. You know, Normal call, I cannot evaluate technical skills. So as I said in my first, a discussion, our first discussion, the soft skills, how you're like basically communicating, how you're presenting yourself on call is very important. Once that screening is done, so for fresher nowadays, assessment is there. We will evaluate your new soft skill, presentation skill, assessment would be there. In that, whatever you have mentioned in your resume should align with what you're speaking.
Ah,
Mention only those skills in your resume in which you can, 100% that sure that whatever theoretical question will come from the management side or from the interviewer, you're able to answer that. You know, that skill. So, you know, being a fresher or in a fresher, we usually search for that quality where the person can sell himself or herself to the recruiter. So that selling comes, right? If you sell yourself, then you will be picked up from the market, right? So
correct,
that
correct.
would be there. So that is very important how you're selling your profile yourself to a recruiter for that particular job post. And then if you're well in that, if you've done everything good, then obviously you'll be shortlisted.
Perfect. Makes sense. Now, there are few questions in line to what we are discussing. Uh, what are the criteria you look for while hiring? And is there a perfect resume format? So, like, we can club these two questions and answer something around it. Like you already mentioned that you need to have ratings around the skill sets. Okay, so this is one very good pointer. Okay, any few and obviously the CV resume should be of 1 page for a fresher. Okay,
Yes.
any other points which freshers and early experienced people should remember? Because a lot of times what we hear is when we conduct a drive for a company, the visibility is pretty high. Okay, but when the candidate applies through the openings of Naukri or LinkedIn, then the visibility, there's no visibility, right? Because 99% of the time candidate would feel that his CV is not even being looked at because of ATS score or whatever it is. Okay, so what are the key pointers, like you suggested the two? Do you have few more?
Yes. So the freshers can add their internship expertise as well or internship experience over there in their resume. And whatever they have learned, they have worked on during that internship, they need to mention it in short over there, about a brief para or the skill set which they have used during that internship. So rating internship expertise which they have or the experience they have. See, as I said, in India, qualifications matters.
Mhm.
if you are a BSc with uh, maybe science or something like that, basically into non-technical side, and if you want to move into technical, right? So there should be some learning which you have done, maybe through YouTube or through a paid certification. Yeah, certification. So I would suggest a fresher to do a certification with respect to the skills that they want to explore. Do a certification, add it in your resume, and that certification should not be of 1 hour. What you
Correct.
learn in 1 hour, right? So we usually check that as well, right? If they are doing one certification, what was the duration of that certification? In 1 hour, you will
Master,
not get anything about that. How
master
you
class
become a
on
master at
Power BI. Get the certificate
that?
in 59.
Correct. I mean, people are mentioning 8, 9 certification, but the certification was of 1 hour, 30 minutes,
Correct.
45 minutes, etc. If you're doing any certification, do it at least minimum for a month. You know, at least 1 week you will take time to understand things. Then you will start implementing. Then work on some minor project in during that internship only. Then you will get a expertise, right? So that thing as well.
Otherwise,
So
it's degrading the value of certificate. Correct.
correct, correct. So basically, this is the pointers which I want to highlight because we have seen so many, I mean, the freshers are mentioning so many certification in the resume, but it is of no use, because do the certifications which is aligning with your expertise, right? If you want to be a data analytics, do certification with respect to that, right? So certification is very important for a fresher. So rating, certification, whatever internship that they have done, whatever project that they have done during this engineering or during their graduation, that they should mention in their resume.
Perfect.
This is about fresher. If I go with an experienced resource, even for 2 or 3 years of experience, apart from these skills, their domain should be added in the resume, domain of a project. For
Correct.
example, if you're working with a organization and that a organization is having multiple clients, they are from manufacturing, healthcare, retail, etc. So whatever project you have worked on, whatever the domain was there, you should mention that in your resume. Why? Because suppose I have not mentioned that we need someone with a banking domain expertise, a 2 years resource, a data analyst with banking expertise. If you have mentioned that in your resume that I have worked for banking client, XYZ, if you can mention these other skill set, it is easier for me to like shortlist a resume, to screen the resume. My requirement was we need banking domain expertise. It is there in your resume, so directly I'll shortlist your resume. You know, so that domain expertise should be there in addition to these skills for an experience resource.
Does this domain expertise play a role for a fresher? Because, like, what
No,
we
not for a
suggest
fresher.
is when they are working in analytics, just the skill set won't matter. So try to get knowledge of around KPIs, what are being used in manufacturing, in web, in retail, in digital. Like in digital marketing and sales and marketing, you have basic KPIs. Like what is the conversion rate? What is the
Right,
ROC? Right. So I mean, they are, you don't need to actually work for a year to know these KPIs, right? If you have the knowledge of KPIs, it is very easy for a recruiter to know that okay, he was curious enough, he
right.
has delved deep in that. So would it increase the chance of a fresher that if he shows that he has some knowledge around the working domain as well?
No, this domain expert is basically for the experiences, as I mentioned.
Okay.
The person with 2, 3 years experience should mention the domain expertise because even if the fresher is mentioning that they have expertise, so we need expertise, not a knowledge. So basically, nowadays people are not understanding the difference between a knowledge and an expertise. If I'm saying I have a knowledge, I have learned that tool, I have done some studies and everything, so I have knowledge. But if I say expertise, I have actually worked
Work.
on that tool, right? For a client or for an organization. So that is the difference. So that people should be aware of because we face this problem as well while lifting the resource.
Yes. So how do you check? How do you check? The someone might show that they have worked on a freelancing project from Upwork or a Fiverr around healthcare data for someone who's doing research or who was creating a POC around an analytics project. Then how would you evaluate?
See, freelancing, POC, everything will work, right? So obviously, as I said, the resume should speak about their expertise. So
Mhm.
obviously, in the project details, they will be mentioning about the brief, the description basically. So that will work. If they have freelancing experience, if they have contract experience, if they have done part time, if they have done project, but it should be a practical exposure rather than a theoretical knowledge or a learning tool.
Which domain do you think is most in demand in terms of BI and analytics?
So basically, two domain are in boom right now. One is pharma, that
Mhm.
is, during COVID or post-COVID, pharma and banking,
Okay,
because banking deals with data. If there's a small mistake in data, complete system will damage, right?
correct.
Banking and pharma is the most important or the client which will be alive till the end for basically analytics role.
Perfect. So banking and pharma are the huge players in the domains in the recruitment part as well. There is a question again. What is your weakness? What should be the ideal answer around this question?
Oh, so in terms of
Solution.
recruitment, in terms of recruiter, you're asking, right? So the main weakness which a recruiter has is rejecting a candidate. We usually feel bad, right? If they are submitting their profiles, if they are, putting their efforts and everything. So we feel very bad while rejecting their profiles. So this is the weakness, and basically, let me be very honest, I'm very workaholic. So until my work is not completed, I am behind it to complete it. Because it's like do not keep anything pending for next day. Let it complete today. I know it's taking 1 hour, 2 hours. Nowadays, people are like, there's no work-life balance. So there, it is there, right? It totally depends on how you utilize the hours. So this is all about the weakness which I have, that I am workaholic and I want to complete my task same day itself, even I'm giving more hours for work.
Perfect. Perfect. Uh, how do you check the cultural fitness? Like, uh, every company has a different culture. Like Tatas are known for their culture, right? They'll never leave anyone high and dry from their employee. Reliance has a different culture. Nagpur companies, if you talk about Persistent, Global Logic, even MNCs are there, Nice, Infocept, others. Everyone within them have a different culture, and culture is something what creates a brand about the company, wherein people would want to work for that organization, irrespective of the pay structure or something. I mean, people would work for free for Zomato, like in between what the founder did, right? So that's the culture, that's the brand value what they have built over the period of time as a startup, that they can of like people would vow to work for free and then accept whatever offer they give, right? So
Yeah.
I want this answer with respect to an HR. How do you check that a particular candidate is a cultural fit or not, and what
Got
efforts do you take to maintain that culture?
Got it. So, see, if an HR wants to evaluate the cultural fitment of any candidate, he or she should be aware about the culture which their organization is having,
Correct.
right? Fully aware about the culture which the company is implementing at the moment. So nowadays there are so many, questions available in market, or there are tools as well who do the cultural fitment evaluation.
Oh wow.
So, people or the HR or the organization looks out for a resource whose vision and mission align with the company's vision and mission, right? Whether it's aligning or not. So, if my company culture is like we are looking out for resources who are flexible to learn multiple things, right? But if I'm evaluating any candidate and he's very rigid or stringent towards that, no, I want to explore in this only. I don't want to, learn these skills and skills. So completely no, right? Because nowadays, even the market is looking out for these are the expertise or the fitment which we have, right? In culture fitment, behavior comes first, the overall behavior during the interview, before the interview, during the interview, and after we offer or after the discussion, HR discussion, basically, during the HR discussions. Your body language speaks a lot about your, behavior and everything, right? So that is a very important aspect, which I would suggest because nowadays, freshers are very active or visitors are very active, but they should know how, when, what to talk,
Correct.
right? So that is very important while evaluating the behavioral or cultural fitment in any resource. And about, I can give you about that with an example only because, what our company culture is, what we are implementing, and then what we look out for the resources. So behavioral is the first thing. Well-defined few questions for them, which aligns with their expertise and everything, and accordingly we check their fitment.
For this, everyone should go through company's website and follow a few people from those organizations, follow the founder and things, right? Because I see a lot of trend in the freshers recruitment that they don't read about the company where they are giving interview. And when asked, what do you know about the company, they said that isme hai lagta hai, something of that sort, right? They are not sure. So ये तो ऑब्वियसली वो क्लियर ही नहीं कर पाएंगे कि
So go
कल्चरल
to next.
क्या है,
Right.
right? So a hack around knowing the culture of a company is to read blogs about the company, to see what activities are being happening in the company, to follow the social media, to talk to few people who are in the organization. uh, my follow-up question to this was, I mean, we'll take a step back. How do you know about the culture of the company? Like, you work for an organization A and then you work for an organization B. Now you are new at an organization B, so you don't know anything. Before you, maybe the founders or the senior managers might have been recruiting, so they might have that gut feeling कि अच्छा ये क्राइटेरिया है, वी वांट इस प्रकार के लोग जिनको उस दिन का काम उसी दिन खत्म करना पसंद है, ताकि हमारा बराबर सब टाइमलाइंस डेडलाइंस मीट होते रहे, एंड द कंपनी ग्रोज एंड द एम्प्लॉय आल्सो ग्रोज. लेड बैक
Right.
एटीट्यूड लोग नहीं चाहिए, राइट?
Right. Right.
तो when an HR is hired, does the stakeholders explain about or have a deck about culture of the company, or how do they give you the KT so that you look same type of candidates around in the market?
Yes. So basically, the stakeholders give us a brief about the culture and everything. But unless and until you're working for that organization, you're spending time, then only we'll get to know like whether this is the culture they have told me or not, right? Whatever they have told me, whether it's aligned with that or not, right? So while working, we get to know about the work culture and everything. So depending on the project needs and everything, we discuss with the stakeholders, right? What are your key aspects? What are the skills or what are things except the technical skills which you're looking out for in the resources, right? If the project is for, suppose just an example, like we are hiring for we are hiring one resource for one client, internal project, but there is one client who they will be working for one client. The client is like they need someone who are, flexible in terms of timing, work timing, who are ready to learn new skills, who are a good speaker. Presentation skill, basically. So, we will not ask you whether you have that skills or not. So from the day one, from the call, we gauge that, right? How you're communicating, how much patience level you have, because that is very important in the market right now, right? How much patience level you have, how you're interacting with the resources or a recruiter, how you're starting a conversation, right? If I'm asking you one question, like this one, flexibility, how you're answering that. If you're answering, yes, I'm flexible to do that, then nowadays in market everyone says that, right? I am flexible to do this, I'm flexible to do that. So we need to gauge, basically we have that sixth sense, we can say,
Correct.
the extra sense to gauge that skills while evaluating resource. So it's very difficult to tell right now because there should be some example, while evaluating resources we have that sense that this is a fitment or not, a cultural fitment.
Okay, so you have to witness that firsthand to understand what's the culture, how things goes, and then according to that you try to see that in the next batch which is coming in.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. There's one question. Is AI in recruitment helping companies find the best talent, or it is unfairly eliminating qualified candidates who don't have the right keywords on their resume?
So as I said, whatever AI is basically a tool. We need to give some inputs over there that we need to have resources with XYZ skill set, right? So it's totally depends on the human who is operating that tool. If the input is correct, the output will be right, right? This is from the recruitment perspective. I mean, from the HR perspective. If we are adding the correct skill set, we'll be getting the correct or right resume, right? However, as I said, resume is the first thing which is used to sell your profile. So resume should consist of all the things which is needed for the skill. So, if I mean there might be a possibility that you have an expertise in analytics side as well, gradually moved into data science as well. So you have worked on both the things. If you will keep only one thing or if you'll merge all the things in your resume in one go for data analyst position. I'm hiring for data analyst. You're adding everything in resume. So resume should be particular with respect to the role, as I said last time, right? So while submitting the resume, the candidate should make sure that the resume is aligning with the key skills, the experience, the XYZ, requirement which the company is having. Once you
Correct.
submit the resume, then it is easier for AI as well, right, to screen their resume because they will look out for the words. If this word is there, right click, move. So that should be from the candidate side. However, from the recruitment side, the input should be correct. And it is very booming market, as you know, nowadays, because it saves the human efforts. It helps us to save time, cost, and even the resources as well.
Perfect. Gives a broader idea around both the sides. Uh, what would you? I mean, we are approaching towards the end of the session, so I just have two questions. Some questions are coming in, so if something comes up, I'll take. Otherwise, I have taken all the questions from the audience side. Two questions from my side. One, when we announce an opening, when any organization announce an opening on a LinkedIn or on Naukri or any other job broadcasting platforms, right? There are a lot of irrelevant CVs coming in. How do you tackle, and what would you say to them who still apply by thinking that there is a slight chance that it might get visibility? Like,
Okay.
I'll again give you an example for this. Like if you write a 1 or 2 years experience, still a fresher would apply, just to see कि होता है कि नहीं, देखते हैं कॉल आता
होता
है
है
कि
कि
नहीं। अभी उसके साइड से सही है, ठीक है, इट इज
correct,
फाइन, चांस लेके देख रहा है। रिक्रूटर के साइड से ऐसे एक चांस लेने वाले नहीं होते हैं। ऐसे I'll tell, if I were to tell numbers, there would be like 500-ish CVs coming
right.
in a day for a opening, and then it might plateau down after 5 or 6 days, right? So, what's your take on this scenario from both the ends?
See, as I have given the example. So, nowadays in all the portals, I mean the channels basically we use for sourcing, for getting the profiles, there is one section of cautionaries, right? Whatever the skills which we need, we add it over there, how many experience we need in that skills, and accordingly we need to set the answers over there. If the person is aligning with that, then it will answer that. And if that aligns with our basically questions or answers, then it will help us with the resume. Okay. But still, in that questions as well, if we have mentioned that we need someone with 1 year of experience, even fresher will mention, yes, I have 1 year of experience, and resume aa jata hai. So, let me be very honest. Recruiters has to maintain that database, be it for fresher, be it for 1 year experience, be it for 2 years of experience. So for one position, we get thousands of resumes. Okay, and it is very difficult to contact each and everyone, even if they are irrelevant, to let them know that their profile gets rejected or they are not suitable for the current position, right? We won't be able to do that. We just keep the resume in our database. We divide it according to our expertise, which we have or not. If it's there, we will keep it in our database and we will get in touch with them in future. Okay. But in case, suppose if the profile has been submitted to us, having 1 year of experience, they have mentioned the skill set, but on call we are getting that we got to know that the person has just mentioned the skills, but he or she is not having experience in that. Sometimes it happens that you have mentioned that you have 1 year of experience in XYZ tool, but the skills which we are looking at is written in the bottom. एक line में रहता है that SQL का knowledge experience है, right? So
Basic.
at that time on call, it's a situation because candidate push a lot. Give us a chance, evaluate us, take the interview, then you will decide. Then you decide it. You want to go ahead or not. See, here time is money, right? We cannot, invest our interviewers' time in this. We can invest our time because this is our job. We need to screen the profile. We need to speak with them. We need to shortlist the profile. So if the candidate is not suitable for the role, it's better that the recruiter call them, give them a brief that why they are not suitable for this role, give them a feedback that these are the skills which you are not having, which is required for this. So accordingly, just work on that. Once you have that skill, might be in future if we have the opportunity, we will get in touch with you. Or if you see on any social media or any platform that after 6 months, when you got the have that skill set, you have like you can apply after 6 months or 1 year time. So from recruitment perspective, it's very important to have an open communication or a transparent communication with the candidate if their profile is getting rejected. If it's a fresher and we don't have any requirement and the person is not matching the skill set, we just park their profile for future report. And we use that. It's not that like we're just keeping it in our database and it is untouched. So we use that whenever we have the requirement. So one thing I would
Final
like to
thing.
highlight, one thing I would like to highlight over here, if the person is a fresher or a 1 year experience, and if they are pushing a lot to a recruiter that please evaluate, take the interview, that shows, how impatient they have. If someone is saying that no, this is the not skill set which is matching, right? So what next comes? Recruiter call नहीं उठाएगा आपका, according to this thing, right? So
Desperate,
they
you
should
show how desperate you are for the job, and then no one wants impatient person in the company. Okay,
correct.
makes sense.
Yeah,
So if we were to, I mean, let's conclude. I have pretty much you have given very fabulous answers. Just in 2 lines, if you were to sum up to everyone who are now upskilling and are picking up various technologies in data science, analytics, AI, Salesforce, and full stack, and every technical areas which are booming in. What would you say to them for landing their first technical job or first job in general?
got it. So you can consider the hiring trend only, which is going on for fresher right now. As I say, the skill-based evaluation is very important. So if you are doing a certification, which we discussed last, certification should be for a longer duration. You should have done a practical exposure in that, and be in touch with that skill. It's not like that you have done the certification and done. Now then you have started looking out for an opportunity in market. So, addition to the skill set which you are learning, and if you want to land in the market, references are very important. You know, keep growing your LinkedIn connection, keep in touch with the recruiter or the technical team as well of the specific organization, because everyone is having some target, right? Target in terms of the goal, the future goal basically they have. Stick to that and move it behind that. Do a research about the market, what in which you want to grow, about the industries which is booming in that particular skill set. Do a research, get in touch with the resources, take an advice of the expert who's already working in that industry. Because even I have got few questions on LinkedIn that, ma'am, I'm a fresher, I have done this much of certification, still I'm not getting an opportunity in the market. What should I do? Right.
Correct, correct,
So,
correct.
if you're upscaling yourself in tool or technology, that should align with the current the market trends,
Correct.
right? And if it's there, suppose there is no, and you should be open in terms of the opportunity. So one thing I would like to highlight over here, the freshers are like, if they are in Nagpur and they have a skill set and none of the company works on that skill set in Nagpur, how will you get the job? You have to go out. You have to explore other cities as well. Look out for the industries who's working over there in that tool and accordingly move. So that is most important.
Perfect. Makes sense. Makes sense. Um, all right. We are. Oh, just a moment. There is one question. There's one
Sure.
question. Can we take that?
Yeah, sure, we can. I hope
Perfect.
I was able to clear all the answers. I mean, the answers are clear,
Yes.
right? With respect
Yes.
to,
Yes.
got it.
Yes. There's just one question. Are there any opportunities for a person having 8 years of experience and now want to start a career in analytics and data science? Like, how is the scenario for 8 to 10, 15 band age group of experience?
So that experience is in technical only, 8 to 10 years of experience, or they are into non-IT or non-tech and they want to move
Let's
into
consider non-IT.
non-IT. Okay. So the chances are there, because it depends on the skill set. Because nowadays, most of the organization are looking out for a fresh young talent, but it doesn't mean that there's no opportunity for a resource who are with 8, 10 years of experience want to move into analytics. So they would be at good as fresher, for us. I mean, for a organization or for a recruiter. Upskill themselves, all the things will apply same. Obviously, opportunity is there, but they should keep themselves open for whatever the opportunity is coming from the market and start. Whatever opportunity you're getting, just at least start. Because nowadays people, I mean, this 8 to 10 years of experience so wants like, no, we have 8, 10 years of experience, we have learned XYZ skills, and we need this much of package. No, no, I mean, you have 8, 10 years of experience. For us, you're a fresher, right? So you will be treated as a fresher only over here. So in addition to skill set, your analytical skills will be evaluated. So opportunity is still there. I mean, you can see even we have seen, and even we have shortlisted now as well, that people are having 5, 6 or 8 years of experience in non-IT or even in IT, but that was not relevant to our expertise. And from last 2 or 3 years, they are in the same domain, or they want to move into that domain. So there are opportunity marks. Anjit, I'm not able to hear you.
Yes, perfect. Makes sense. One area which I mean, it just went out of my mind to ask, and there's a question around this as well. How to justify gap?
That is a very difficult question, or for a candidate to answer basically. So see, there is a reason, right, behind a gap. There might be a family reason, there might be a medical reason, or there might be a reason of learning something or upskilling yourself in some skills, right? So, if that is the personal reason, explain it, right? I mean, in the resume, we will not be able to shortlist. Explain it why. And if that reason is valid, you have to justify that how you're keeping yourself up to date as per the market, right? If you're not working from last 2 years, what you have done extra or what you have learned during that period to keep yourself updated with the market trends with respect to the experience or the tools which you have. So that is very important. I understand if there's a personal reason, a medical reason, you might not have time. Medical is fine, but if it's a personal reason, you can give an hour or two, right, in a day to learn or upskill yourself. If it is for the technical skills, then it's not a problem because that is considered in the market in India. However, if the reason is personal or medical, then the explanation should be genuine, should be practical. And if the person is giving a reason of government job preparation, so that is basically a tricky question because what you have done during that time. Why you want to move into an IT now after 5 years of journey? That a recruiter usually asks. So people say that they were preparing for government job and then that didn't work out, so they want to move into IT. Why you want to move into IT? There should be a specific answer for that, and that should, be like that, that the recruiter is getting impressed from that. And oh yeah, that's it only. Because
What
this is the common question, which most common answer which we get from a resource.
uh I mean, what could be the most genuine answer for someone who's saying that he was preparing for IAS and could not crack for last 3 years, and was preparing for gate or banking, and then now wants to switch? Like, I'll answer that for you, okay, and you tell me how to improve it. So I always had clean inclination towards IT, but somehow someone suggested do BSc, so I did BSc in microbiology. And then the easy option was to land a job, because after BSc you don't generally get a good job. So I went for civil services because I had a family background of civil services. But my keen interest was always towards how apps are made, how websites are designed, and everything. But due to peer pressure and family pressure, I opted for preparations of government jobs. But here I am after 3 years. I could not crack for the government jobs, but nevertheless, I think it's my time now that I should follow my passion, and to go into this direction. I have upskilled with data analytics course, and I am equipped. And now I am equipped with Python, SQL, and how they are working, how graphs are being created, how companies run, how the data flows in an organization, and everything. So yeah, this is my answer for it. Do you think this gives a better reason, or could it be much better? What's your take?
No, this is a valid or a perfect reason. But the question arises in recruiter mind is you're passionate towards like data analytics or into IT side. You have done BSc in microbiology, you said, right?
Yes.
Then you moved into civil service.
Yes.
All three things are different,
Yes.
IT, then microbiology, and then civil service. Why? I mean, why there's a difference? I mean, if you have done be in IT or engineering, and then you have moved into civil service, and now you want to move back again to IT, that is valid, you know, because you were having the expertise in that, or you've done your qualification was according to IT only. But
Correct.
when your passion was to do want to move into like into technical side, then why you've done BSc in microbiology?
I'll tell you why. Because my father is in banking. Okay, he is a class one officer at SBI. So he thought that the most secure career for me would be an government job. And if I would have done engineering, then I have seen my cousin, or our family has seen our cousin having a lot of backlogs and not clearing his graduation itself. So he thought out of that experience that the best thing would be to do an easy course, and meanwhile I would prepare for the banking exams. So according to the traditional norms, they thought that the best way to secure best way to get a secured job is do any degree which is easy to get. Surprisingly, now I think that he has chosen microbiology for me and not Bachelor of Arts. But here I am. I didn't knew that what IT is. I mean, I am now saying to you that IT is my passion, or I like to work in IT. I was not knowing about IT 3 4 years back. I saw few of my school friends working in IT after doing engineering and working around data and BI, and I was in their home or room. They were creating charts, and that penetrated the thought of curiosity within me, that how it works. And that is how I came to know that okay, this could be a good career option. And I love watching data and the code coming on the screen, and then eventually that code building something out of it.
Got it. Perfect. Actually, that aligns. That completely perfect. And the recruiters are expecting the same answers from the resources rather than saying or giving it a single line.
Perfect, perfect. ठीक है. Perfect. Thank you so much for answering all the wonderful questions which I have put in front of you. Thank you so much, audience, for helping me out to ask questions. There were a lot of questions from different angle. My apologies that I missed the gap year question. which we could answer. But I hope that this scenario based answering, when I only answered a question for an HR, gives a better description about how to tackle the situation. Because uh, again, it's genuine, things happen, everyone would not have the same track,
Correct.
right? And
Correct.
how would you know if you don't spend time in trying out for some examination? How would you know that whether you were meant for it or not? So anyways, if you are able to justify things, it's always good. It is just that you should be able to justify everything. Whatever you
Correct.
write on a piece of paper should be justifiable, otherwise don't write. This is what I could make
Right.
out of the interaction. Just to summarize, whatever you write, you should be able to justify. Again, a big thank you, Payal Kanojiya, for joining us today. We have a very good insight, and your journey and transition would surely inspire people from engineering and IT background to work in HR as well, because a lot of people aspire to go into this domain, as you have as well transitioned. Right now, I just
Right.
realized saying that you have as well transitioned. So you might have got this question a lot, that if you wanted to work in human resource, why invest a 4 years time in doing a coding based degree, right? So again, all the best for your journey. Keep.
Thank you.
We would love to have you again, since you are in Nagpur, to meet our audience and take some direct questions and interact with them, because it really helps when someone sees a person from the city and in the career trajectory of 4 to 5 years, 6 years down the lane, how the career shapes up. And since you are in the recruitment area, you are absorbing talent. So you obviously have one edge more than someone just working in IT or something. So again,
Right.
a big thanks to you for answering all the questions brilliantly.
Thank you. Thank you so much to you as well, Amrit, for giving me this opportunity, to help the team or the audience with that, because nowadays most of the people are facing this issue, while starting their career or while moving their career into an IT. So maybe in future we can connect again. And this is for audience. If they have any question or if they still want to know anything from my side, then they can reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Chalo, perfect. Everyone, just take a screenshot and search her on LinkedIn and get connected, because she puts a lot of openings around. She'll be able to help you
Yeah.
land a job.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Oh, one
Obviously,
question.
hmm.
Does your current organization hire interns, or what are the ways people can apply?
We do hire interns. And since we are headquarters in US, so we basically follow their recruitment pattern only. So we don't have any criteria that we need only engineering graduate. We need only, but technical. They
Yes.
should have technical background. So qualification, graduation should be there. Technical qualification should be there, and again, the soft skills should be there. So we usually hire interns, depending on the business need and the project need. Even we hire fresher as well as a full-time resource. So if there's anything comes up, and since the audience is more into data and AI, and we are also into the same industry, so I'll definitely get in touch with you for the help.
Perfect, perfect. I'll let everyone trouble you. So I have pasted
That
I
is our
have
job.
Payal's LinkedIn in the chat section. Please connect to her, and let's take this relation ahead that we have already established. Thank you so much for enlightening us through your journey.
No worry, cool. Thank you, Anand. Thank you so much. Thank you, audience, for listening patiently, and I hope I have answered all the questions. As I said, in case of any questions, you can reach out to me.
Chalo, we are due
Thank,
time. Thank you so much. Thank you so
thank
much, everyone.
you. Yeah.